403.
Mr. Mayor, as we kind of discussed, we actually ran out of time for the other two executive session items, so they were not discussed, so those have been tabled for now. So all we're dealing with is the work session.
Right.
So this is where we have some questions for Sheriff Taylor, for Sheriff Pablo as well. We, discussed the contract in front of us, and I think there are a few questions about, and I know you've done this, and I watched the video, I wasn't able to be here at the meeting, but could you give us some information about the logistics of the 4 officers you proposed and how they can cover the town, time of day, number of hours a day, that situation?
Well, the way I have envisioned this, it's not going to be specifically a town PD and the sheriff's office. It's going to be a combination of the sheriff's office providing coverage to the town. So it'll be, it's not going to be broken into an entity of police and the sheriff's office. We're going to have minimum coverage of 2 people on a shift at any given time. Now, there's going to be some fat days and there's going to be some real thin days, depending on sick leave, vacation leave, training, so on and so forth. My goal is to not have a single officer out there by themselves. So we may have a town person, 1 town person. We may have a deputy covering the outside. Now, it's going to suck, at some times, it's going to suck that officer outside the town to cover as a backup. And at times it's going to suck the deputy outside the perimeter of the town to come in and back up. And then we're going to have, I would say at times, we might have 6 officers, deputies out there at any given time. Under those situations, we'll have 2, depending on it, if they're designated to the town, we might have 3 in the town, we might have 3 outside of the town. But there'll be a designation of responsibility within the town for coverage, if that makes sense, and then that answers your question.
So one officer will always have, his primary coverage area is going to be the town.
I can guarantee you there will always be a deputy that will be, primary coverage would be the town.
Are you talking 24 hours
No.
or no? Okay.
No. Right now, we're
Primary,
running,
big, busy hours.
right.
Right now they're running ragged.
Right now, we run about 22 hours of coverage, Monday through Friday. We run about 18 hours of coverage to 20 hours of coverage on the weekends. With more people, we can expand that. I don't really see a need to run 24 hours because we did an audit on calls for service. There is a time from 3 in the morning till 6 in the morning that we might not get maybe 2 or 3 calls in a month. And I think we can utilize those resources in the high time call areas as opposed to having them just sitting out there not responding to any calls. Under Sheriff Hall, he starts at 4 in the morning. We have, and then I come on at 8 in the morning. And then we have officers come on at 9 and then progress up to 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Depending on how many people I have, I can adjust those hours, but I won't know what those hours are going to be until we again do another audit. What are the peak hours of calls for service? And if they're at 6 in the morning, we'll adjust that. We'll start our people at 5 in the morning to deal with that 6 in the morning. If we get calls at 4 in the morning, we start seeing a lot of activity at 4 in the morning, we'll kick that time frame back to 5 in the morning. And at some point, I'm not saying we'll never run 24 hours. If there is a way to do that, we're going to have to adjust and see what we can do to cover it. But my whole goal is right now we're having people out there on Friday and Saturday. We have 1 deputy. And that's not safe for anyone. You get a priority call that requires a second unit. What are we doing? We're calling people out on their day off. And we're lucky in that regard is because we've never had a deputy refuse a call out. They're not mandated to answer the phone or come out, but they do it out of the goodness of their heart because of their commitment to the community and commitment to their job. They do it. So we're very, very fortunate in that regard.
So something I would like to see in this contract is a monthly meeting, like attendance at a town hall or town meeting, where you kind of give us a rundown of how things are going, you know, communication basically, are the needs being met, do you feel like you're adequately able to respond, that type of thing. Basically just an open invite once a month to come and communicate to the council how things are going.
I don't have any objection to being at all the council meetings initially, just to touch base, collaborate as to what are the needs of the town, what are we providing, what are we not providing. We got to keep those lines of communication open. I have absolutely no problem with that at all. And this is not going to be a situation where the Lake County Sheriff's Office takes over and the town is left in the dark. That's not going to happen. The only thing that is going to happen here is the law enforcement will be under the Sheriff's Office, but there will still be communication, collaboration with the town. We'll provide you information that you need. We'll take your input. And like anything, if it's nonsense, we probably won't do it. If it's good, viable information that we feel we should do, we will address it. And then we'll report back with what we're doing.
So what about equipment that is purchased with this, because this is a standalone budget? Who would be in possession of equipment 5 years down the road if the contract is renewed? Because I don't see anything in here like.
If that money is purchased by town budget, that equipment comes back to the town.
Okay.
It is not retained by the sheriff's office. As I proposed when I first proposed this, I don't expect the county to have to pay a penny for these 4 officers, and I don't expect the town to lose a penny to the county through that budget, and that's why we proposed a standalone budget. If there's $100,000 we get, and at the end of the budget year, there's $20,000 left over, then that money comes back to the town. It's not absorbed by the county. It comes back to the town. The town can do with that money whatever it wants to do. It can roll it over into the next budgetary cycle, or it can use it for whatever it wants to do. But we will not profit, when I say we, the county of Lake will not profit by 1 penny by that public safety budget provided by the town.
And then the $605,762, is that for the next, every year for the next 5 years?
No. Do you have a copy of the?
I do, I don't see any increases.
That's what, these numbers we may have to talk about it,
Oh, there it is. Okay.
but we have,
Oh, no,
It's in cost, right?
on page 5 of the contract. The first year that we have the contract, we sit down and figure out how much money are we going to need to provide the service of police officers, equipment, benefits, and so on and so forth to these 4 officers. Come up with a figure. Let's just say it's $605,000. And at the end of that year, there's $30,000 left over. You guys get it done. So then we have to provide an estimated cost by a certain time the following year to let you know if there's increases. Those increases are going to be, you're going to see increases in COLA because that's union contract, and that is 1.5% to a maximum of 3% for wages. And then what is it going to cost for operational needs? If that's 2%, then we will estimate we need another 2%. The third year, we'll do the same thing. If we have the equipment we need and it goes down 2%, we'll estimate 2%. But let's just hypothetically, the way wages and cost of living and cost of doing business increases, it might be 1%, 2% a year. And then at the end of 5 years, there's an opt-out clause in there for both the county and the town that we will provide the cost of doing business, and if it's felt by the town council that that is too much, or you want to go back to your police department, you can opt out of this contract. But there's time frames in here that that's all got to be done, so everybody has an opportunity to say, we don't want to do this, we have time to adjust to it. And then those bodies that were hired, the last 4 bodies that were hired to make this work, those go back to the town of Lakeview.
I think we have other things to work out, but we will be doing that, I think, in the next few days, maybe meeting with you. A couple of us and our manager,
Okay.
if that's agreeable.
Okay. I would like to see this go forward, because right now we're stagnant. We got people sick, we're struggling.
Well, OSP is overloaded from my understanding right now, I know you guys obviously are. I would like to call a work session if we can do this to continue moving this forward next week. I know we have a regular meeting. I know CIS needs to be involved in this, and they can be here Wednesday or Thursday of next week. And I think I would like to have them help facilitate conversations and whatnot.
City county insurance or,
Yes, CIS.
and which one do you know?
I believe it is Kurt Chapman that is in
He's this
this department, yes. And I would love to have his input, and because we have to go through him anyways for this, my understanding that he has to also kind of freely give their feedback. But I'd love to call a meeting for next week if we can, obviously. Have Sheriff Taylor here next Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Does that work, or
What days are city pickup?
Wednesday or Thursday? I think that should be 24th and 23rd?
Yeah, 23rd, 24th is Wednesday or Thursday. We have a regular meeting on 22nd.
Correct. So either of those works for me, I don't know what you guys. Sheriff Taylor, that works.
I don't
Either of
go
those
both
works.
days.
Either day?
I'm available.
Why don't you guys maybe you guys could move your regular scheduled meeting to the same thing, so you're not doubling up.
Not a bad idea.
It's up to you guys.
Wednesday.
Does Wednesday work for everybody?
I think it depends on which day he's going to be able to be here.
He can be here either
Wednesday.
Either day we want it.
Yeah.
So we'll move it to Wednesday, so he can do both at the same time.
Okay.
Can we proposing to start at 3 and then have a regular session at 4? Just leave an hour for that work session, is that enough time?
I feel like it may not.
I think I have school board that night too, so.
I think we do.
But I think you'll have at least 4 being, you and I might have to step up.
Right.
Time your school board.
5:30.
5:30.
5:30, or maybe 5.
It's
We can
5
always
actually.
start at 3 and then move our regular to 5.
We'll start at 2.
Yeah, we can start with that. Well, just mindful that he has to drive from Bedford, potential weather conditions.
Probably better than if we started at 2, so we get him out here.
Well, we can still, let's set the date and then when we notice it, we'll set the time exactly, but just see when we can get
Okay.
there. And we
Yeah,
still have
he
plenty of
said-
time to set the time. but
Anytime.
The date's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, either 2 or 3 would be fine.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I'm good anytime after 1.
Well, I just don't want to set it too late, because Mike, you're gonna hold Mike over, and he's gotta travel out to Yelp.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
good
was
during the
looking
day.
at Michael Costa.
That's not a problem. If we gotta sit down here for 6 hours and iron it out, I would just as soon do that.
Well, I think that's where we're kind of the point we're getting to, is we just
Yeah.
need to come together, if it takes a long day to do it, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I think that the questions were good, we had, conversations, and I mean, this just has, I think, some minor details to add in there that we need to address. And with CIS's help next week as well, and others. What do you think?
And then kind of what I have to, then I can just give us a direction of kind of some of the big guys which one there is where we got, so.
Well, it's just those one things that, like I said, I would like to see, that,
Well, remember, we can't do that piece yet.
yes.
No permanent decisions.
We're not making any, we're just
Right.
looking at the facts.
Parameters, exactly.
Yep. We're not making
Proposal.
any decisions. Dude. Oh, that's good.
Okay, anybody have anything else? Sheriff? Under Sheriff? Council? Roberta? Okay, then we'll go ahead and schedule the meeting for next week. You want to go at 3 or 3:30?
Two.
Yeah, well,
2
2
p.m.?
Oh, at 2 o'clock?
They give us 2 hours before the regular session at 4. And move our Tuesday to Wednesday.
That works for me.
So this is Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
Wednesday at 2.
Two, yes.
Work session.
And I'll catch up with you between now and then and chat.
Yeah, you guys can check.
That's the,
Okay, if we have nothing else, then we'll go ahead and adjourn regular session at 4:18.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for waiting.
Yeah.